tamers. So there's another banner that's coming tomorrow. So actually, it's 2 banners, I think. It's a ticket summon and the 4 holy beasts. So let's find out in this video if it's actually better than the other banners that we have. So the Digimons that you can get in the Holy Beast banner Volume 1 is xuanwumon and Zhuqiaomon. So let's see if they're actually worth it. So it's gonna be available October 7 to October 31. So that's roughly 3 weeks or so. And see here, xuanwumon is support oriented and Zhuqiaomon is attack oriented. Okay, both are Mega Digimons, and so let's set. xuanwumon is tenacious and Zhuqiaomon is brave. Interesting because we're getting a lot of tenacious Digimons right now. So if you got xuanwumon BM, then definitely it's gonna be so useful to add in the lineup because good tenacious lineup right now is somewhat defensive and attack oriented as well. So let's look at xuanwumon and let's check out the skills first. So main skill, 220% damage to 4 enemies, not bad because of the 4 targets. 40% chance to inflict stun on 4 enemies, that's actually low. But if you have xuanwumon BM that decreases status ailment resistance, then definitely you're gonna have a higher chance to inflict status ailment. So yeah, that's the only effect for the main skill. Well, the increase in power, but if you have xuanwumon BM, by default you're gonna have a 80% increase in power. So there's also the sub skill, which restores HP periodically by 500 for 2 turns, and that's 320% damage to a single enemy. Not really that good because of a single target, but even the HP restoration is kinda low because 500. I don't think that it can cut out a good heal anymore. But who knows? 500 can be handy sometimes, especially if it's a close fight. So passive skill, nullify fade effects, targeting tenacious allies. This is what we're looking for. So definitely you need to nullify fade, especially if you're using a tanky lineup. That's the only easy way to kill a tanky lineup using fade. So we have Omegamon Zwart, Deaf, and Devoted. So those are the only Digimons that can inflict fade. So I don't think there's a lot of Digimon or tamers that has those 2 Digimons, because one, Omegamon Zwart has been long gone. The Deft and the Devoted is only available for like 3 days or so. So I don't know if it's actually useful. Maybe if there are other Digimons that will be released that can inflict fade, definitely this will be a good passive skill. So the next effect is increase all allies' death by 60%. This one is also high. I'm usually using Skullgreymon Tenacious in my lineup, and that's only 40%, but Skullgreymon also has 40% block. But I think right now death is more important, so the 60% will definitely be helpful. However, this is for 7 turns, so now we're starting to get passive skill that are higher than 5 turns. So because Bilzamon BM can cancel easily the 5 turns, now we're getting additional 2 turns. So Bilzamon BM or even Apocalypse can't cancel this anymore. Is this a new era again? Let's see for the succeeding Digimons, but we can already feel it. The 5-turn era is almost up. So let's look at the stats. HP 11,458 as expected from a Tenacious Digimon. Power not so great, 4,478. And of course, Just imagine if you have Shine BM, passive skill is 80% plus 80% power for Tenacious, then it's gonna look like around 8,000 power, which is quite high. So the only real thing here is if you can damage more from the skills itself. Can be interesting, but I think we need more effects to basically use a Tenacious Digimon to be an offensive Digimon as well. So Def is 3,894. I think this is one of the few Digimons that are above 3,500. Though we know we have 4,100 defense, but this is still high, especially if the passive increases 60% def. So just imagine 3,894 plus 60%, that's roughly around almost 6,000. So that's definitely high. And speed, of course, is low for Tenacious Digimon. Tanks, basically. So this is actually worth it. I don't see anything good about this one. I don't see the hype in this. If you're looking for a Tenacious Digimon, I'd still prefer Heavy Leomon because of the protection of Heavy Leomon. So for me, this might be secondary. If you have Heavy Leomon, then yeah, you can try this one. But if not, go for Heavy Leomon first. Which, as you may know, I don't have Heavy Leomon first, so I'll still go for Heavy Leomon instead of this one. So moving on to the next Digimon, the Brave Digimon Zhuqiaomon. So it's a Mega Digimon as well. Let's look at the skills. So, main skill, 460% damage to a single enemy. That's a red flag for me already because single enemy targets are usually just useful during clash battles, maybe even in raging raid battle. So maybe if there's gonna be giant spirals again or something like that, then this might be useful. Then ignore enemy block, yeah, sure. 3.5 times the damage during critical hit. So yeah, it's quite high. This can actually hit good since it's 3.5 times. But we'll have to check the stats if it has good stats. Allows self to automatically revive from KO with 50% HP. So this is a special effect similar to the Rashomon. 50%, not so bad. But I won't really use a single enemy target during battle part, especially not right away. So for this to be useful, this needs to survive around mid battle of battle park or even late game. Yeah, this might be tricky to use. Okay, so let's move on to the next skill, sub-skill. Deals 260% damage to 2 enemies. Increase all allies' critical rate by 60%. This is actually good, 60%. Definitely one of the highest critical rate buff. And it's 6 turns now, so like I said, it's a new era for buffs because they're adding more turns for Bilzimon BM. For Bilzimon BM to be countered because Bilzimon BM is only 5 turns and Apokalmon as well. So yeah, can be interesting for if you have a lot of Digimons that are dependent to crit. Maybe this is something that you can include. But of course, I'm just thinking it's mostly useful just for clash battle because of the single target. And even the sub-skill only targets 2 enemies. That's not so useful in Battle Park. Well, for me, because I prefer that you target a lot of Digimons instead of just one. And moving on to the passive skill, nullify freeze effects targeting oneself. So, like I said in my previous video, freeze is not really that evident in Battle Park. Maybe in some parts like Underworld, Clash Battle, or even Story Mode, but in Battle Park, which is the most important part of the game for me, it's not that useful. So again, this is when your remaining health is below 50%, you will receive the remove skill lock and blind from oneself. Increase own power by 100%. So I think this is the third Digimon now that has some buff if the HP is below 50%. So first is Alphamon or Ryuken, the next is Heavy Leomon, and then this one. So it's gonna increase in power as well, but it doesn't remove a lot of status ailment. Skill lock and blind is well, it's crucial sometimes, but I don't see it being that useful because it's only 2 status ailment that doesn't really do much. And the increase in power, I'm not really convinced because 100%. I don't think it can do a lot. Of course, in Clash Battle, it will. So let's look at the stats. HP 7,575. So that's kind of average right now. We're seeing a lot of 8,000, even above 10,000, 11,000, 12,000. This is quite low, but this is a brave one, so let's focus on the power. Power-wise, 6,176. So it's quite high. And if you're gonna do or gonna activate the 50% HP, then that's gonna be plus another 6,000. So that's gonna be 12,252. So that's actually high, I think. Oh, I got it wrong. 12,352. So that's decent, I guess. Definitely, I'd like to see this in Clash Battle if it can really hit that hard compared to, let's say, Alphamon or Ryuken or Bilzimon BM with the 4 hits. I think that's yet to be seen. And Def is quite, I think, average, 2,600. And Speed is, yeah, pretty much almost the same with other Brave Digimons. Are there any? Yeah, so that's basically it. So I don't think this is a good banner. I'm not sure why. There are a lot of tamers who are actually saying this might be good. Or maybe it's better in terms of the last evolution banner, the Agmon and Gabmon banner. But for me, it's pretty much the same, or does it look the same? Because I don't have Heavy Leomon and Bilzimon BM yet, and I'm focusing on that. Let me know in the comments if you think this Digimons are good and you're gonna get them. How many rubies are you willing to let go for this 2 Digimons? So yeah, I think if ever I'd get this one, it's mostly for the buff of allies, all allies, but not for the effects of the main skill, not even for the damage. This one maybe just a bit for the damage, but like I said, it's only useful in Clash Battle, or yeah, battles. So for me, if you're tight on rubies like me, focus on the more important banners like Heavy Leomon and Bilzimon BM. So there's another banner. It's the volume Ticket Summon Volume 4. I think we can cover just the main here because I scanned through this one and I didn't actually like most of the ultimate. So only the Mega Digimon here is quite useful, which is Chaos Dramon. So this is a Mega Digimon, Chaos Dramon. And let's see the skills and stats. So first with the main skill. Deals 250% damage to 4 enemies. Not bad because 4 enemies. Decrease for enemies power damage resistance by 40%. This is quite good because it reduces resistance so you can hit harder if you have a power lineup. Then 40% chance to inflict blind on 4 enemy targets. Not really fan of that because of the 40%, and maybe it's because I have a Pokalimon which hits 4 enemies as well and removes buffs, and it's 65% blind. But let's look at the sub skill now, and it's 190% damage to 4 enemies. Decrease 4 enemies tech damage resistance by 40%. So this is actually quite flexible because you can add either power or tech Digimon. So it can be interesting. So you won't have to be limited on just power Digimon, power lineup, or tech lineup. And yeah, basically that's it. But it's good because it targets 4 enemies and it has some debuff. So the passive skill is increase all allies' death by 50%. So this is high, but not as high as xuanwumon, who increases death by 60%. But this is also good because it's only off by 10% anyway. And also it has a debuff of decrease all enemy critical rate by 50%. So that's actually in a way defensive because you won't be receiving any critical damage, or maybe just less in terms of percentage. But yeah, it's not something that I'd go crazy about. So this is another tenacious Digimon. And let's look at the stats. It's 10,328. Quite high HP. I think it's gonna be a norm after a couple of months, 1 or 2 months. It's gonna be normal that we see Digimons being released are always around 10k HP. In terms of power, it's actually low, 3,400, but of course it's a tenacious Digimon. But the def itself for a tenacious Digimon is also low, 2,340. For me, this is not that great. But of course, you're just gonna get this one for the buff and the debuff. Still can still be useful, especially if you're running a full tenacious lineup. Can be interesting with that. There's a lot of tenacious lineup or tenacious Digimons right now, and even the power Digimons. I think they're trying to balance it out because for the past few weeks, most of the meta Digimons, I'd say, or the stronger ones, are usually tech. Now, the power Digimons are trying to reclaim their throne on being a better lineup in Battle Park. So yeah, basically that's it for the review. I don't think that, yeah, this is a ticket summon, I forgot to mention, so I don't think we're gonna need rubies here, so we'll just have to wait where we can get the tickets. As for this one, I'd say, for me, it's not that important if you're new and you got all the more important Digimons like Heavyliamon, Bilzemon BM, and yeah, basically those two, then sure, you can try that out. But if you're a long time gamer or tamer, then I don't think you need this. There's a lot of other Digimons that actually can replace this one, or maybe just wait it out for the next banner. So I don't know if I'm missing anything. Let me know in the comments if I did miss anything on why these 4 holy beasts are good, or maybe they're referring to another set of Digimons, but do let me know in the comments. So yep, that's it. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and yeah, bye.